Have you ever paused after payday and thought, where did it all go? You're not alone. In Canada, over 60% of six-figure earners say they still feel financially stressed every month. And in the US, it's not any better. 57% of Americans, including high-income earners, also report living paycheck to paycheck. Let that sink in for a second. Earning more doesn't mean you're financially free. It just means that your spending, it kept pace with your income. And as they say in the book, The Next Millionaire Next Door, having a high income, it doesn't equate to wealth. So today I want to break down 6 middle-class habits that'll keep you broke, even if you earn really good money. This isn't about the reckless splurges. It's about the everyday financial decisions, big or small, that we normalize without even realizing the long-term costs. And like the old saying goes, income is what you spend. Wealth is what you keep. And look, I'm not blaming inflation or surprise bills. I know life's expensive. I live in one of the most expensive cities in the world, Toronto. Well, let's be real. A lot of the patterns we've come to see as normal, they're the same ones quietly holding us back. And make sure to stick around till the end, because the last habit, it's all about personal growth. And honestly, it might be the most important one if you're trying to grow beyond just earning more. So let's start with the most common patterns. It's the reason your raises, they seem to never make you feel any richer. A quiet thief of every raise. Do you ever get a raise and then 6 months later, you're still stressed about money? Yeah, that's lifestyle creep. It doesn't hit all at once. It's quiet. And that's what makes it so dangerous. You start earning more, so you start naturally spending more. Not recklessly, just gradually. It feels deserved, normal, and even responsible. But what you're actually doing is you're locking yourself into a lifestyle that costs just as much as you make. Maybe it's a better car or a bigger place, or just a few small upgrades like nicer clothes, more takeout, or even a gym that smells like eucalyptus. But that's the point. It doesn't feel careless. But now, with more money coming in, it feels tight every month. I've looked back at old pay stubs thinking, man, how was I living off that back then? And then realizing, wait, why am I not saving more? Because the brutal truth is, if your lifestyle always grows with your income, you'll never build the margin you need for real freedom. And listen, I'm not judging, but this doesn't happen because people are necessarily irresponsible. It happens because no one's ever taught us to stop and ask, what's our enough? Raises feel like progress. So we spend like we're progressing. But the money, it's not building. It's just cycling. And that's why so many high earners still feel broke. So as an actionable step, I want you to try this. Do a last raise audit. So what do I mean by that? Basically, whatever your last raise, bonus, or even new contract was, write it down. Now ask yourself these questions. Where did the money go? Did it help you save more? Did it knock down debt? Or did it just quietly disappear into lifestyle upgrades? This isn't about guilt. It's about clarity. Because the next time more money does show up at your doorstep, you'll know exactly what to do with it. But even if you never upgrade your lifestyle, there's still one thing that can make you feel broke, even when your numbers say you're doing just fine. Let's talk about money dysmorphia. When earning more still feels like it's not enough. Do you ever look at your income and think, man, I make pretty good money, so why do I still feel broke? That's money dysmorphia. It isn't about what's in your account. It's about how your brain processes progress. Your numbers go up, but your stress, it doesn't go down. That disconnect, it's real, especially in 2025. It's everywhere. And here's what makes it worse. You start comparing to your friends, your coworkers, and what people are posting online. And suddenly your progress, it doesn't feel like progress anymore. You start chasing that feeling of I've made it. So you start spending more, stretching more, and upgrading faster just to feel like you're doing better than you actually feel. Like Theodore Roosevelt said, comparison is a thief of joy. But here's the brutal truth. You're trying to fix an emotional gap with financial moves, and that never works. It's that little voice in your head that says, once I hit that next income goal, then I'll finally feel secure. But what actually happens is you hit it, and then without realizing it, you raise that bar for yourself again, because it was never just about the money. It was about the story you've been telling yourself. If I just earned a little more, then I'd feel okay. But that piece, it never arrives because you never stop to define what enough actually looked like for you. So as an actionable step, I want you to define what enough looks like for you. Not what your friends have, not what social media shows you. Just you. Then I want you to ask yourself, how much would you need to feel calm, to stop chasing the next upgrade, and to stop comparing? And then I want you to write it down. Because if you don't define your version of enough, you'll always keep moving that goalpost every time you make progress. And once that line gets blurry, it's easy to slip into the habits of performing success instead of actually building it. So let's talk about one of the biggest status symbols out there, your car. But before we dive deeper, if you've even gotten just a little bit of value out of this so far, do me a favor and help me reach 1,000 subscribers. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps the channel grow. And it helps me keep making more content like this that's real, that's practical, and designed for individuals like yourself who are trying to take their journey seriously. And let's be honest, you've probably seen a ton of money content online, but if this one's resonating with you, that's worth subscribing to. So to thank you, here's a picture of a red panda, just chilling, because sometimes the smartest moves are the quietest ones. The monthly payment that's driving you backwards. Let me ask you something. How much car are you really driving? And how much of that car is driving you? Car payments, they're one of the most normalized middle class expenses. And it's one of the most dangerous because they don't just drain your bank account, it drains your momentum. We're told it's just part about being an adult. Work hard, reward yourself with a nice car. Nothing wrong with that, right? But between financing, insurance, gas, and repairs, most people, they're spending $800 to $1,200 a month on something that loses value every single day they're driving it. Here's what makes it worse. A massive number of those luxury cars on the road today, they're leased. They're not even owned. Over 90% of those luxury EVs, like Teslas, BMWs, and Mercedes, are leased in Canada and in the US. It's a status play, and it's been normalized. And we don't even pause to question it because everyone else, they're doing the same thing. But just because it's normal doesn't mean it's a smart thing to do. That's $1,200 you're spending each month. It could be building long-term freedom, paying off debt, and investing, and saving your future self years of stress. I know people driving around in really nice cars, but who couldn't handle $1,000 emergency in cash if it hit them tomorrow. And I get it, cars, they feel like status, like progress, but a lot of people are parked financially just to avoid looking like they can't afford better. Meanwhile, that monthly payment, it's silently stealing your options. So as an actionable step, here's what I want you to do. I want you to add up your total car costs this month. That's your payment, insurance, gas, parking, maintenance, pretty much everything, right? Now, I want you to ask yourself, if I didn't have this car payment, what could I be doing with this money instead? Would you pay off your credit card, build a 6 to 8 month emergency fund, or even start investing? That one question alone can change how you think about every future car decision moving forward. But even if your car is paid off, there's another place your money might be quietly bleeding. Let's talk about your home. The hidden trap of home loans and HELOCs. Owning home, it's supposed to be the dream, but for a lot of people, it's quietly becoming the biggest source of stress. We've been taught that owning property is the foundation of wealth, and in many ways, it really is. But here's what most people aren't told. You can be house rich and still be completely broke. And at some point, homes, they stop being shelters and they started becoming lifestyle trophies. We stretch for the right neighborhood, overextend on the mortgage, and then life gets tough and we don't cut back. We borrow more. HELOCs, refinancing, second mortgages, they're all helpful tools in the right hands, but they're so dangerous when they're just patching over a spending problem. And here's the kicker. Even if your home is worth a fortune, like many are here in Toronto, that equity, it's locked up. It's a liquid. You can't just swipe it. You can't just spend it, not without taking on more debt. So instead of being a safety net, your home becomes a literal pressure cooker. Again, I know people sitting on homes easily worth over $1 million, but they don't even have $1,000 in cash to handle an emergency, just like I mentioned earlier. But that's not freedom. That's pressure. And no one talks about it because on the outside, it looks like success. But if your home is keeping you up at night and you're borrowing against it to stay afloat, that's not a dream. That's a trap. So as an actionable step, I want you to run your own home stress test. Not the one your mortgage broker did for you. Your own test. And then I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, if interest rates were to go up, can I afford the payment? 2, if I lost my job, how long could I cover that mortgage? Or am I completely cooked? 3, if I'm borrowing against my home's equity, is it building me wealth or is it just funding my lifestyle? You need to be brutally honest with yourself on this Because financial peace, it doesn't just come from owning a home. It comes from knowing what that home is actually costing you, and whether it's building you freedom or quietly taking it away from you. And if home equity debt wasn't enough, there's another trap that's getting easier to fall into every single day now. Let's talk about credit cards and the buy now, pay later payment plans, and how living on credit is unfortunately becoming the normal for many Canadians and Americans. Living on credit. Swipe today, pay forever. Buy now, pay later. Sounds harmless, right? But here's what it really means. It means go ahead, borrow from your future. We used to blame credit cards. Now it's like everywhere. And then you have BNPL. That's buy now, pay later, split into 4 easy payments. No interest, right? At first, and then it feels like convenience, but it's really just new debt with better marketing. You're not just sitting with a banker anymore. You're just tapping your phone for something you can't necessarily afford. And suddenly you're juggling all these payments from last month and this month and the next month all at once. But most people, they don't even call it debt anymore. They call it managing my cash flow. But if you need a payment plan for your pizza, jeans, or a weekend getaway, that's not budgeting. That's a huge red flag. There's a saying, what starts small stacks fast. And eventually you're not just buying time anymore. You're trading away your peace of mind. This is one of those habits that feels absolutely harmless until you zoom out and then you see what it's actually costing you. A few bucks here, 80 bucks there. It's not one big mistake. It's death by 1,000 cuts. 17 small payments that quietly steal away your paycheck. You're not broke by one decision. You're broke because of all the little ones that are adding up. So as an actionable step, I want you to do a credit detox check-in. I want you to open up your banking app and ask yourself, what am I still paying off from last month? And would I still buy it again in full? And here's the brutal truth. If you're not paying off your credit card in full every month, you're not using it right. You're not winning with travel points or 2% cashback when you're paying 25% in interest and dragging that debt into your future. So for the next 30 days, no new debts for wants, no BNPLs, no split payments, no credit cards unless it's essential, and give yourself some breathing room. Now here's the irony. We're quick to borrow for things that won't last, but we hesitate to invest in the skills that'll actually build our future. And remember what I said at the start? This next habit, it's all about personal growth. And honestly, it might be the most important one if you're trying to grow beyond just earning more. Neglecting your skills, the flat line that'll cost you long term. Most middle-class folks won't hesitate to finance a couch, but if you ask them to invest into a certification or a course, then suddenly it's too expensive. And here's the truth. Your income, it's tied to your skills, not your degree, not your job title. It's the value you bring and how current that value stays. But the middle class was sold a lie. Work hard, stay loyal, and your job, it'll take care of you. That doesn't work in 2025, especially not in the age of AI. While you're clinging to job security, AI is quietly replacing tasks that used to take a full team. And if you're not upgrading your skills, you're not standing still. You're literally falling behind. I've always been big on self-learning. YouTube basically built my career in UI UX design. But what I've learned is this over the years. The people who grow financially and even professionally are the ones who treat learning like a habit, not a hobby. Especially now, AI can literally multiply your impact. Your skills are one of the few assets that can't be stolen, taxed, or even outsourced. At least not the ones that truly set you apart. But whether you're in design, marketing, or even the trades or admin, AI isn't just coming, it's already here. And it's not just replacing people, it's replacing the people who don't want to adapt. Look, you don't have to master everything overnight, but you do need to make a start, because your next raise or even your next opportunity, it probably won't come from working harder. It'll literally be coming from knowing more. So as an actionable step, I want you to block off 1 hour this week to build that skill that pays. Start with AI, tools like ChatGPT or Midjourney, DeepSeek, Cloud, or even Gemini. They're all game changers. Find ways to use AI to automate and augment your current workflow. If you can't find a course, start with YouTube. It's literally free goldmine of knowledge, because staying sharp is honestly cheaper than getting replaced. So if you've ever looked around and thought, why am I making such good money, but still feeling stuck? I hope this video helped you see that it's not just you. These middle class habits, they're subtle, they're socially accepted, and if you're not paying attention, they'll quietly drain your progress. And if you already started making those changes, like cutting back or being more intentional, even choosing peace over performance, I just want to remind you, you're not overthinking it. You're just literally a few steps ahead of where most people are willing to go. So if this video spoke to you, even if it's just a little, do me a huge favor and hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who you think really needs to hear this. And lastly, drop a comment down below. What's one habit that you let go of or even develop that's helped you get your money right? Seriously, I'd love to hear it, even if it's just a sentence. Thank you so much for watching. This is Simply in the Black, helping you stay out of the red and into the black for good. Until next time, stay focused, stay consistent, and stay in the black. I'll see you in the next one. Now, if you're just starting to build momentum with your money, you're really going to want to check out this next video. It's a video I made called Why Everything Changes After You Hit That First 10K. I walk you through the mental and financial shifts that happen when you hit that first big milestone and why it opens up doors to so many new possibilities. I'll link it right here. Watch it when you're ready.